Welcome back to the channel. Jack with the Grind Chronicles here with another First Impressions video, and tonight we're talking about the Paladins of the West Kingdom from Garfield Games. It's a worker placement game, and one that was not really on my radar originally. I may have heard little blips about it when it was on Kickstarter through board game groups or like other content creator videos, but the only thing I knew generally about it was that it was the Miko doing the art. So I had no expectations. Once people started getting in their hands and playing it, I saw a lot of people talking about how good a game it was. So, I was obviously, had hopes for that. But this isn't even my copy. This is a friend's copy that let me borrow. And so, yeah, we played it originally months ago, months and months. And then it finally, again, last week, and we had to kind of relearn it. It had been a long time. And the only thing I remember was like picking Paladins for your turn. So it was kind of like learning it all over again, but that's cool. The components are really good. It's really high quality from the cards, player boards, the cardboard cutouts. All of them are great. High production value. I do have a video. I don't highlight them here, but I highlight them in my What's in the Box video, so I'll link that in the description below. It's a longer video, and I kind of go off on how different things are and how it works, I guess. But yeah, so the production value is really good. This copy may have upgraded metal pieces for the silver. I don't know if the retail original comes with cardboard, but if it is, it'd be the same quality as the provision cardboard cutouts, and those are really good quality and thick. So, yep. No complaints whatsoever on the components, and obviously all the cards, the boards, everything has Miko's art on it, and yeah, I'm a fan of this art, and it's sweet. So, as for the game itself being easy to play, I think it's a midweight game. It's not particularly difficult. There's like two mechanics. There's at the beginning of your turn, you'll have a Paladin deck. You'll take 3 from the top of the deck. You'll choose one to play, one to bury at the bottom of the deck, and place one on top of the deck. So obviously the one on top you'll see round after round. The one at the bottom you'll see at the later rounds at the end of the game. And then you'll just be playing workers after that. So those are pretty much the two mechanics. So you play a Paladin, you'll get workers that Paladin provides. A lot of times they also have an ability, a special ability. They do all have a special ability and some little attribute bonuses for your turn for that round. And then, and then you'll have tavern cards out, and each will display 4 different kinds of workers. There are 4 workers of all different random combinations, and there's like 6 different workers, scouts, criminals, fighters, clerics, and so on, laborers. So and merchants. Might as well just name them all, because I think that was all 6, I think. But anyway, there's a lot of different kind of workers, and so you'll just end up picking, on your turn, one of those cards. You'll collect those workers, and then those, along with the workers that you get with your Paladin, are kind of what you have for that round. And it's, that seems really simple, but I guess it comes in the fact that during the game on your turn, your player board alone has like 12 different actions you can take. And most of the actions, if not all of the actions, need particular types of workers. So if some of the there's like 6 on the left side of your board and 6 on the right side of your board for actions that you can take during your turn. The ones on the right definitely need 1 or 2 different types of workers to be able to fulfill that action and to take that action for your turn. The other side is, a lot of times you can just use the laborer or any meeple worker, and if you want a little extra bonus, then you use a specific one. Like trade is, you can use one of any worker, and so you'll get 1 silver. But if you use that one of any plus then a merchant, and you do the 2, then you get 3 silver. So you get little added bonuses. And I think that's where some of the complication comes in the game, because all it is you're trying to accrue victory points, and you have strength, faith, and influence for your attributes, and those are on the side of the board, and you're keeping track, and so you'll have a number assigned to them, 1 through 20 or is it 12? I don't know, 12 I think if I'm looking. So, but either way, throughout the game, you're taking actions to try to raise those attributes and collect more coins and provisions, because to take all these actions, not only do you need workers that are of a specific type a lot of the times, at least for the major ones on the right side of the board, you also need to be at a certain level of attribute to fulfill that as well. So you might, and so so you need workers of a certain type a lot of times, and then you'll have a requirement of gold or silver or provisions or something that you have to pay, but also a lot of times you need to be at a certain level of attribute. So to continually do one action, you have to make sure you're raising that attribute so you have access to actually do that attribute. And I think that's where it gets really thinky and grindy and causes a lot of analysis paralysis, especially for me, but I think everybody in the group had it. I know I'm nicknamed Slow Play because I get analysis paralysis a lot, but this game, it's kind of like on a next level because there's just so much going on. And so it just, I don't know, it just really kind of, for me, slows the game down a bit. Even picking the Paladin is kind of, I'll sit there and I'm like, oh, I don't know which one to take, because they're all good, but you won't get to use them all essentially. When we played it with the, I guess there was promo Paladins, and in that one you have to throw one away, keep one, bury one, and put one on top. And so like that was even rougher for me because I knew I was like getting rid of a Paladin I wouldn't get to see again. But yeah, so I don't know. It's a more midway difficult game, but it's more based on like the fact that there's so many actions to take that's where the difficult part comes in. They're simplistic in most ways, just how it works. So, which is awesome, but yeah. So, and the theme of the game is kind of whatever to me. The art helps a lot. The Paladins are awesome, and the boards, they look beautiful and everything. But you're potentially fighting. You're fighting outsiders or recruiting people, but nothing that you're doing really seems to like act that out. You're kind of just, oh, I'm going to commission a monk, and you just play your workers and you place a monk out on the main board and you get something for it. Or you're going to play some workers out and fight some outsiders, and you'll get the rewards from that. But even if there was like, I don't know, dice rolling or anything else that really kind of like made it feel like you were doing it, would have been a little bit more thematic. But the theme and the art actually does really well to pull it together. And so yeah, but otherwise I feel it's low on that level of the theme. So just my opinion. And yeah, and in terms of like with that difficulty midweight, especially with all the different options going on that you have to do or can choose from, it says it's like a up to 2-hour game. Our game took, God, I don't want to say 4 hours, but it was between 3 and 4 hours. Granted, we did have to relearn it, and we kind of just went through it step by step and everything and whatnot. So that did eat up some time, and so that was included in that. But it was that analysis paralysis for a lot of us where we just weren't really, I don't know. It ate up a lot of time. But overall, I really like the game, despite that fact, the analysis paralysis for me and what it caused for everybody and the length it did. It's a small box, but this game takes up a lot of real estate on the table. It's like huge. So you wouldn't think it by looking at it, but the player boards and just the main boards all spread out, and the cards, you need cards on top of the boards, on bottom, and it's just like, it takes up a lot of room. So yeah, that's one of the first things I noticed when we were setting it up. I was like, holy cow, this is massive. But yeah, so if make sure you got the table space for it. But I like that there are a lot of different avenues for gaining victory points. And that's all you're trying to do through the game. As you go up through the attributes, the higher attributes get, higher up you'll have, like, they'll be awarded some victory points for if you get them high enough. Each category that you can do, like commission or absolve and stuff, when you're sliding stuff over, you're moving over tokens and stuff, that those all have, once you get further in, like 4 or 5 in, I think it's the fifth one in, they'll start giving you, victory points. The problem is you kind of feel like you want to do everything, but I don't know that you can. And I wonder if that was kind of like part of the problem too, is with the Paladin selection, all of them are very good at a certain thing. They'll raise certain attributes, which will help you meet the criteria of other actions that you can take. So I kind of made the mistake of, like, when playing a card, sometimes I'd pick a Paladin because I thought, oh, this is really good, okay, but I failed to, like, focus on what that Paladin strengths were to help my turn, and so a lot of them were kind of wasted, and that got kind of frustrated. But it's like I thought I was going to, and then I ended up not being able to because I didn't have certain attributes, or I didn't have the right meeples, workers chosen from the middle, because maybe I just didn't get the opportunity to. And there's some things that mitigate that, with like the worker placement, which I like, which is the criminal. And the criminal is a wild, so that's used for like any worker type that you want, which is awesome. And you can generally, at least once a turn, get a criminal just from one of the actions. But when doing that, you get suspicion cards, and suspicion cards, you'll have a tax pool of silver, and once that runs out, certain things and actions and abilities will take silver from the specific tax pool. And once that's out, that's an Inquisition, and then if you have the most suspicion cards, you'll go in debt. So you'll get a debt card, and that's like -3 victory points at the end of the game, unless you can pay it off, and then it's worth 1. But I felt like, I think the debts were worse in Architects, but I don't know for sure, because I've only played that game once or twice as well, and it's been a long while. But in this game, I didn't feel like the debt was too bad, and there was a lot of ways to repay them, so it was kind of whatever. But yeah, just the fact that there's so many different things that you can do, it's just, I don't know if it's best to focus on 2 different areas, 2 maybe attributes to raise, and like say skip the third. Or I just feel like there's so much to do. I didn't know how to efficiently allocate workers and like strategize what would help. Like, I ended up doing a bunch of converting of outsiders, and that was like a bulk of my points, and I did almost win technically. But our friend, he had, when you develop, you can move a piece over, and I like that aspect too, the develop, where you can take a workshop. Once you develop, you get an instant reward, and then you can put that workshop on any of the 6 attributes off to the right, or actions, and you'll see there's like outlines on some of the worker icons, and those you can cover up, so it makes those actions cheaper, so you can cut out a certain type of worker that you need or something. So, and he had like an engine built up where he was like able to continually do, I don't remember if he was like doing garrison or fighting. I think he was fighting. Either way, he had an engine built up, and he ended up winning, but it was only like by 4 points. So, but yeah, so that's something that I'd probably like to utilize a little bit more. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a really fun game. There's a lot going on, just in terms of managing like what workers you need, which is kind of random. I mean, you get your Paladin that you can pick, but then you might not get the workers that you need out on the board from the tavern cards, and so you got to just work with what you get. You got your Paladin, you're hoping, I'm assuming that's where I failed, is like, I think it's important to try to utilize the Paladin, because otherwise what's the point? They can raise attributes and give you workers, but you also kind of want to use the special abilities where like maybe absolving doesn't cost anything, or it's cheaper to develop, or something like that. And so those are things I'd probably keep in mind when I did it. But either way, there's just a ton of actions that you can do, and I love that there's a lot of ways that you can gain victory points and score, and I don't know, that stuff is awesome. So it's just the fact that there are so many actions that it causes my analysis paralysis to really trigger. So if you're prone to analysis paralysis, I would say that is going to be a factor. But yeah, so we're going to attempt, the only thing you can randomize is the Paladins, but I think we're going to try to play random, and we're just going to do it with the Paladins, because the Paladins, it was worse, like I said, because we played with the promos, and in that case, you have to burn a promo, or burn a Paladin as well, and so you'll never see it again. But the other thing was, Keep in mind, like, yeah, when you're burying them, in my mind I was like, okay, that would be good for endgame. That would be good for endgame. But then once we got to the last round or two, it was like, oh crap, I can only use one of these. That's right, because you still have to just pick one. So you're saving up all these things. So yeah, I wasn't very good at strategizing which paladin to use and what's not. So that's why when we're playing random, it might cut on the analysis paralysis. So it's just going to be randomly whichever one I pick. That's the one I play, and then randomly one on bottom, one on top. And maybe that'll go a little quicker because I figure I can't screw myself over any more than just me sitting there forever trying to figure out which one to use and then not even utilizing it. So I don't know, I'm curious and interested to see how that goes. But so yeah, either way, think it's a fun game, and I'm looking forward to playing it again. Not just the random, but standard as well, and try to see if I'm missing something, I should focus on just two attributes and various different actions instead of trying to do everything. And yeah, we'll see. So, but anyway, for now, that's my thoughts on the Paladins of the West Kingdom from Garfield Games. Have you played this game? And if you have, tell me down below what your first impressions were and just your overall thoughts of the game. So until next time, take care.